Title of this video is Catholic Invades a Mormon Church. And you won't believe this. I've already seen it, so this isn't like a blind reaction. But I think this guy had some very interesting insight. Me being a member of the quote-unquote Mormon Church, or as we call it, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It was a very eye-opening video for him creating it, and an eye-opening video for me listening to it. This was not at all what I expected it was going to be coming into it. And so it was a very pleasant surprise to get a just a video that kind of was a refreshing nod, because everything in the media today now, most everything that has to do with the title Mormon is either some sleazy reality TV show or just bad mouthing, and it's nothing great. Typically, it's not anything good. So yeah, we'll get into this video. His name is Artemio Borgia. His name's right there at the bottom if you want to. Artemio Borgia. Give him a follow. I don't know if I'm go through those after. But yeah, let's get into this.
Over the weekend, I went to a Mormon church with my buddy Elder Anderson. Shout out Elder Anderson.
When you first said that, I thought he was talking about like the Elder Anderson, but then I realized he's talking about a missionary. All right. Okay. Let's see if we can get back in. I gotta get my cursor. Okay. So he's talking about Elder Anderson, an elder, a missionary, full-time missionary.
And we met playing pickleball, and he invited me to his church, and I was like, okay, let's make a deal. I go to your church, and you go to my church. And so I
easiest deal for a missionary to make, right? Like, if you get to come in, you're gonna come through our doors, and then I get to go do something else that's not my everyday thing. That's a pretty win-win for a missionary.
I've upheld my end of the bargain. So the purpose of this video is not to bash Mormonism. It's not to bash the church, not to bash Joseph Smith and all that. Although I could, I will not, because that is not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is to tell you about my experience going to a Church of the Latter-day Saints. I get there, obviously in my suit and tie. I want to show respect. I'm not sure how they typically dress for service, so I just wanted to be safe and come in my suit and tie. Get out of the truck, and this two old couple, they get out of their vehicle, and they're like, "You don't look familiar."
If you're ever coming into a meeting of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, there will always be at least one old couple that will be there to greet you. They're always there they're always there hell early. They're always the first ones there. And they thrive on getting to meet someone new on Sunday. Now, I hope he's going to go on to talk about how he loved how friendly everyone was. And I hope, and this is just my cynicism as far as the church goes, but of course, he's a new face. He's obviously someone who could be either a new member, fresh meat for callings, or a investigator, obviously. And so that's someone that they're going to take and be like, show very special interest in. Now, most wards, I haven't had an issue with this, but there are some places I've been within the church where you get there and you're there, you're fresh, you're new for a minute, and everyone's super welcoming and loving. And then after time goes on, if you haven't jumped into a clique or found some quick friends, then the ward that open friendliness just kind of dissipates a little bit. Now, like I said, it's rare. Most of the wards, like the ward we're in right now, we're guilty of being gone all summer, so we hardly seen anyone from our ward family. Looks like when we come back, they're all still very, very, they're caring. They always do their best to strike up a conversation, and everyone's very, and the other thing is, like, we know that if something were to happen, we have support. We live in a very older area, and so pretty much we've had a lot of funerals as of late. But all those funerals have phenomenal turnouts as far as the volunteer work and people coming out and helping and supporting those families in that time of need. So that's always awesome to see and understand, and I'm glad he was able to feel of that vibe and that freshness.
I'm not, no. But anyways, they shake my hand. They ask me how I'm doing. They ask me my name. They just, I asked them, like, it's my first time here. I've never been here before. Like, what do I do? And they're like, just follow us. We'll walk you through the whole ordeal. So we're walking towards the door. We're having a little chit chat. They're getting to know me and whatever. I get inside, and it's just more hands.
And that's always funny because he's like, "What do I do?" Whereas for us as members of the church, we just walk in and sit down. So if we go to another meeting, another religious service, we'd probably just do that, walk and sit down. But he's coming from a Catholic background, and I know when I went to a Catholic church when we were living in South Carolina, that was probably one of the most nerve-wracking things because it's a very involved service in a lot of ways, and so. I do think that as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we tend to be on kind of the more user-friendly churches and congregations because you really just got to come and sit, listen. I mean, you have the sacrament that's you partake in, but even that is brought to you. I've been to Catholic Mass where you have to walk up, I think, the Eucharist. You walk up and you partake of the sacrament in that way. Whereas in our church, the priesthood holders bring it around. So far, we're off to a good start. So far, he's had a great experience.
Greeting me. More people are greeting me, strangers, complete strangers, and they're just being very nice and, not cultish or anything like that. Just very.
That part killed me when he said not cultish or anything. I could guarantee you that if you're someone that thinks you've never met a Mormon, you've probably met a Mormon. We're just normal people, and we're kind of everywhere at this point. I mean, obviously, there's a ton of us in Utah, but like, you'd be surprised, like, how many people you probably come in contact with or know in your personal life that could possibly be members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Receptive, very
not a cult,
and very kind, nice people. And anyways, I sit down. I meet Elder. By the way, everyone's looking sharp. Everyone's dressed up in nine.
Also, I think it's funny that he just keeps saying Elder Anderson. Obviously, the other companion has no clue what's going on in the world. No, he's just probably just a little bit more of an awkward dude, and Elder Anderson is your stereotypical outgoing missionary. So he probably gets along a lot better with this dude and a little bit more of an impression on this guy. Feel bad for whoever the companion is. But hey, that's what happens sometimes,
They're wearing suit and ties, the women are dressed very modestly, and everything is just very reverent off the start. Very reverent. That's what I got from it, from the aesthetic, and it looked like we were in in a Congress room, which could have been before, but anyway, there was no stage, no drum kit, no electric guitars, no smoke, fog machines or anything like that. No,
So as a Catholic, he was probably thinking this was going to be more like a more Protestant church, a more modern church, but we're relatively modern in comparison to the Catholic Church, for example. But I don't think we definitely haven't. Well, obviously, we haven't gone the way of many other modern churches. And then we have the singing and the dance and the music and all that stuff. Not that that's bad. It's not personally for me. We've been to a couple different services that involve the band and stuff, and there are times when I kind of feel like it's a little too. And he's gonna hit on this point. The reverence is kind of a factor, and I love our hymns. Our hymns are very traditional speaking as far as American church goes, I guess. I don't know how you'd say that, but
Avelites or whatever. These guys are very reverent, very, very modest, and that aesthetic in itself is very, very respectable, very reverent. And this is because there's a lack of worship, there's a lack of reverence, a lack of respect, a lack of fear in God's church. And this goes for...
When he says God's church, he's talking about the Catholic Church.
This goes for Catholics, but it especially goes for non-denominational Baptists and all that other junk. I'll be straight, it's junk. You don't have the fullness of the truth, and Lord willing, you come to the fullness of the truth, which is the Catholic faith. But as you will hear soon, I'm going to be very critical of Catholics, the way their procession.
And I think that's why this video kind of resonates a lot more, is because he's someone who's being honest and open on both ends. He's talking about the things that are good from a faith that he doesn't at all agree with or believe has the fullness of the gospel of the church, and he's going to criticize heavily the faith that he belongs to. And I would like to think that I can come from that same perspective where I love my faith. I love being a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Are there things that I don't always agree with? 100%. Are there things that I can criticize myself? 100%. But it is my faith, and I do believe wholly in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I believe that opposing to him, I believe that we do have the fullness of the Lord's church and the fullness of the gospel restored. But he does in fact understand a lot of very key principles. And this is one thing I love, is that the servants of the Lord and the faithful of the Lord are the Lord can pick his servants in whatever church he wants, right? God, his hand is felt in all these places. You do not have to be, I don't believe you have to be a specific member to be a tool of God. You don't have to be belonging to a specific faith. Just like you can belong to a specific faith and also be a tool of the devil. It goes both ways. So I think that this man is going to be very candid in what his thoughts are. And I very much appreciate that, because it's not something that you wholly see in the world today.
There's a hymn, a song, then there is a prayer, then two people who were picked a week before on a subject matter go up to preach, essentially speak and preach about what they.
Also, shout out to the elders for not bringing him on a fast Sunday. That would have been probably the worst possible thing that could have happened. I don't know how wards move out in Dallas, but man, it's a crapshoot most wards when it comes to our open mic Sundays, as John Grist would say.
Read what they went over and how it ties into their life or whatever, what they got from it. Anywho, this the first lady, I forget her name, but she was like glowing. She was beautiful. This subject matter was that God reigns supreme. Death does not reign supreme. God reigns supreme. And she goes on and she talks about her late brother who passed away, and he was like a full body cripple, couldn't move for himself, and needed the assistance of the whole family. And she was talking about how she had a dream that he was up in heaven running around, fully able, just running, laughing, smiling, and it was so real to her that she just she was crying, and I was crying. I was crying a lot. That why I won't go into, but it was very impactful for me, because death is not the end, and anybody that I have lost, anybody that you have lost, is now fully healed and fully perfect with our Lord Jesus Christ.
Testimony's testimony, man. That is 100% perfectly said. Like, this man probably agrees with a lot of what the mainstream bills as the tenets of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But he just proved in this moment that the basic everyday tenets of what members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints believe, dude, it's Christianity at its core. It's, we love Christ. We know that we are saved through Christ. We know that God the Father has provided a way for us through Jesus Christ to overcome all things, from physical ailments to our sins to everything. And it's the same thing that this man believes, enough so that he was crying in church with people he's never met before. Someone who's speaking that's not someone who hasn't gone to Bible school. This is just someone, like he said, received her assignment a couple weeks, probably a week if she's related to the bishopric, probably the night before. But it's someone who just received this call to give a talk, had to study, and come and share her testimony. And that's something that related with this guy. And that's something that I've always found is a huge upper hand to us as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, is that we are called to do all the things that other churches do on a full-time basis. Like, we are full-time members 100% through and through. So like, if you're giving a talk, you're doing what someone's could be getting paid to, or someone has gone to school to do, and you just had a couple weeks, couple evenings to get it prepared, and then you get to stand up there and deliver your testimony. Should just be a testimony. It's not always a testimony. Sometimes it goes off the rails. But you get to sit there, you get to share your thoughts and be edified by the congregation supporting you. And also, you never know who in that congregation is going to pick up something special and specific. This man had a specific thing in his life that he could connect to the person that is giving their talk. Now, happenstance, purely coincidence, maybe, maybe not. But it's crazy that he get this random Sunday to come and someone is speaking to him directly, more or less, because soul to soul they resonated on that aspect, and he felt that spirit, and he'll admit that he felt the spirit, and then he'll admit that he connected with the doctrine that was being taught. And I think that's what is important. The politics, the culture, the social whatever of the church and what churches are, it doesn't matter, because the doctrine is what matters, and the doctrine is what resonates. The doctrine is what's spiritual, and the doctrine is what comes straight from God. And this guy 100% sees that, and I'm glad that he was able to feel that in one of our congregations.
The Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, and they're doing just fine. And anyways, after that, we go back into a song, another prayer, and then another song of these two wonderful children just like singing the most beautiful song.
Oh, and they got the primary kids out there. Shout out to primary, dude. Primary made me cry the other day when we were in there substituting, and they sang one of the newer primary songs I had never heard before. But these kids singing, dude, and you look at, and almost every adult in the room was like either fighting tears or straight up bawling. So I think we should just have primary kids sing they're our new choir. They should sing every sacrament hymn, because I no longer know like 80% sacrament hymns. So we should just let the kids do it.
And that made me cry. And then the first part of the service ended, and now more people are coming up to me. Someone like,
so the first part of the service being sacrament meeting, I've gathered from this. So when he said that, I thought he was just talking about the first talk. I didn't, but that was the end. That was the end of his experience.
He's not grabbing me, but puts your hand on my shoulder. Is like, what do you think? And I was like, look at my face. What do you mean? It was awesome. That was great. I had a wonderful time. And I'm obviously red in the face and broken. And Elder Anderson and Elder, I forget his name, but we were having a really good discussion, and I'm just asking them questions. I'm just asking them questions, just being curious and interested, and they're being curious and interested, and it's just it's a good talk. It's about to be 10. I had to get going to make it to mass. It's at 11, so I gotta go, and it's gotta go across town. So I get out, I skedaddle, everyone says bye to me, and I'm feeling the fire of the Holy Ghost in me. I'm feeling soaked. I drive, I get there to the Latin Mass. But anyway, I line up for confession, and we're doing the group rosary, which is awesome. I love doing the group rosary because I find it's more powerful when you're doing it in a group. I wish it was Latin, but I'm glad we're all doing it together. I tried to save my own seat, but it didn't work out. It's a very small, 100 seats. That's 100 people can sit. That's it. So I do my thing. I get out. I stand for the mass, and I'm feeling just this extreme discomfort come over my body. Extreme discomfort. It's not like the pains in my knees, but it's like in my freaking in my head and in my neck and in my stomach, and I'm just feeling this immense discomfort. And I'm like, okay, I assume it's because I'm standing up so long. I've been on the ground on my knees so long. So let's just maneuver to the other room where there are seats for the rest of the pulpit. So I go sit down over there, and I'm just I'm hearing this ringing, just this ringing. I'm like, does anybody else hear this ringing? And of course, nobody hears the ringing. It's just me. And I can't hear a single word that Father Valentine is saying. Not a single word is reaching me. Not a single word. And I'm going to back it up here to me getting out of my truck, parking. I get out of my truck, I'm walking by, and mind you, at the Mormon Church, they had more people, but their bishop came to greet me. 25 people came to greet me. Very cordial, asking me real questions, not these sample size questions, just real questions, and being very curious. I had to go. I had to go up to people and greet people. No one paid any mind. I was looking around, making eye contact with people. I made eye contact with a few people. No reciprocity to be seen at all. And I think that was the seed that, maybe made it difficult for me to stay. But anyways, bringing it back, I'm sitting down here in the ring. I can't hear a single thing that Father Valentine is saying, and I'm sweating so much, and the room is like 70 degrees. So I step outside, and
Shout out to the church for always having AC, dude. They wonder where all that money goes. Our lawns are watered and we got AC. Yeah, AC.
rip the tie off, rip the shirt off, get in my truck, and I drive home. I did not finish the mass. Could not finish the mass.
Now I don't want to I'm not watching this as like a gotcha, as in like, haha, we were right, you were wrong. I'm watching this because it was very intriguing to me to have someone who is very strong and very staunch in his faith and believes it. Are you serious? One sec. Baby monitor. All right, what was I saying? It was just refreshing to see someone who is not refreshing. It was intriguing. That's the word I used. It was intriguing to see someone who was so strong in his faith, able to go to one of our congregations, recognize the Spirit, feel the Spirit, but then also go back to his own congregation and maybe see where some of those things are lacking. And I've had that kind of similar experience when I've gone to some, like a Catholic mass, for example. And the reverence of the Catholic mass I went to in South Carolina, it was a midnight mass. I don't know if that's that different, but it was a very reverent and like somber mood. It was very quiet, very respectful. And that was something that was like, to me, was amazing to be able to see that and just experience that. And also I will always love the architecture of the Catholic buildings. Well, like I said, that's one way that we're very modern. We have very like modern industrial looking buildings. They're beautiful and they're kept clean by the members. They're kept well maintained and they're amazing buildings. But nothing will beat like a colonial era, like a cathedral. Like the ornate everything, the artwork, just the history that goes behind those buildings. And I think you find something similar in some of our temples and whatnot. But that's one thing I've always loved about the Catholics is they show reverence in the ornateness and the attention to detail in their actual structures, and that's something that I've always respected about the Catholic Church. And just the piety and the, like, this young man, he's very staunch in his beliefs, and I wish that we as the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints would be more staunch and more like not combative, but just more, puff your chest out sometimes and say, I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Say it with your chest. And I guess that sounds prideful, but I think you should have some modicum of pride in the fact that you know what you believe and you will defend what you believe and you back up what you believe. And that's who I'm going to be all the time. If you see me all the time, I'm going to be I'll be defensive. I'll be defensive respectfully though. Like, I'll match, it's like sparring. I'll match your energy most of the time. But yeah, this is not a got you response to this guy's video. This guy, I loved hearing his experience. Brother, I'm glad you had a great time in the meeting, and I'm sad that you felt that way going back into your own.
May the Lord have mercy on my soul for that. I didn't participate in communion. I didn't do any of that. So I'm driving home. And
so again, it's heartbreaking because if I were to go to church on Sunday, actually, this has happened to me. I've gone to some sacrament meetings, specifically when it comes to missionary homecomings and farewells. Dude, I've been guilty of attending because it's family and I feel like I need to attend to support my family. But it's always tough for me because you have the normal everyday people that are going to your ward, right? Your congregation. And now there's no parking. There's nowhere to sit. There's 10 times as many people. they got to pass and bless the they're blessed and pass the sacrament, which takes 3 times as long because there's 3 times as many people. And then so I've had this same experience where I just feel the spirit leave because I'm so angry, negatively prideful, very judgmental of the situation, and I've felt that spirit depart from my. It's all my own thing. I'm sure there are other people in the congregation that are still able to feel the spirit. They can ignore all that, but for me, it was just like I kind of released the spirit from myself because I was so focused on the environment and what was going on around me, and so I have had this similar experience with my own own self in my own church.
And I just start crying again. I am bawling because I feel so much sorrow at the absolute lack of passion, the lack of curiosity that I have seen, not from that just one day, but it was a buildup of so many Catholics who are just going through the motions, just whatevering it all around, all about. No passion, no curiosity, no fire. It's just all dead. I don't know, say whatever you want, bro, but your fruits are your fruits, bro. If you don't have the fire of the Holy Ghost, it will be shown by your fruits, bro. And man, something's going on. There's a dimming of hope, a dimming of fire that I firsthand experience by the people who are practicing the trueness of faith, the fullness of the truth. Like, what the fuck is happening? Have we no curiosity, no shame, no purpose? It's just, it's insane to me. It's insane to me. And this is the traditional Latin Mass. This isn't even Novus Ordo. Don't even get me started on Novus Ordo. And oh my, I can already see it. People are going to call me like a contrarian. Oh, you're just dividing people up. Yes, I'm dividing people up. Christ did not come down with freaking kumbaya. He came with a sword. He came with a sword to dispel lies and to promote truth. And what do we do? What do we do? We don't evangelize. We don't correct. We don't love properly. And do not even get me started on Baptists and non-denominationals. Or, oh, Jesus is love, so I love. You do.
I 100% agree with this statement as far as Christians and across the spectrum, because man, that is, and speaking of other faiths, the Islamic faith, oh man, I have, for all their faults, just like, and you can say our faith has a bunch of faults as well. For all their faults, I envy the, again, piety and the overall respect and stalwartness that the people of the Islamic faith have. I believe that is one of the most genuinely, just like from the prayer to their overall actions, they walk it like they talk it in most situations. Sometimes not always in the best way, but it's the pot calling the kettle black if I'm going to go out and say a religion is this whatever, because obviously someone will jump in the comments and say, oh well, the Mormons murdered everybody across the plains. I'm like, okay, history's history, I can't avoid that, but that's there's reasons, there's stories, there's context. Obviously there's always context, but that's, I agree with his sentiment 100% in that yes, you should love, but Christ didn't love the money changers, for example, by kumbayas and saying hello. Christ loved the money changers by teaching them a lesson in front of the house of his father, and that's something that I think, and I get in trouble with this in my own family with my mother specifically, of being someone who's a little bit too combative in the faith. But I firmly believe that the gospel has always had and should and will hopefully always have people that are firm enough in their convictions of the gospel that they are ready to be somewhat combative, but also combative with love. Just like teach with firmness and conviction, but with love in the end, even if that love is sometimes a little bit harsh on the surface. And I 100% agree with the same about curiosity, like being curious about what's there and not going through the motions. When you just go through the motions, you're doing yourself such a disservice, because the Lord has placed everything there in front of you. All the resources, everything you could ever need to know to be truly curious and have that fire burning in you 24/7 is there. So it's only you doing a disservice to yourself if you're not picking up the torch and carrying that fire with you. And I'm 100% guilty of doing that more than I'd ever like to admit. But I love when I can get on kicks and have these bursts of extreme faith and be studying and be learning and be absorbing information about the gospel. And then I do catch myself looking in the mirror thinking, what are you doing? Like, why have you not picked up the torch? Why have you not gotten ready to share through your action, through your word, and through your deed? But I would agree with him on this point for sure. I do think there's overall a drop off in people who have a fire for the gospel, a fire for culture, a fire not just like the gospel, a fire for faith, a fire for believing in something outside of the Big Bang, or the fire for something outside of yourself, honestly. Because if you believe in any religious context, you believe that there's a bigger picture outside of yourself and outside of everything just being an accident, and you're just here to mosey on and have a good time in the world. That's my biggest thing and takeaway from all that.
You, I love you anyway. And die. You're
okay. I wouldn't say I condone that.
Don't speak ever again, lady. And the guys are just like, I'm going to church. My girlfriend's a Christian, so I guess I go to church with her. It's just whatever. I mean, we like almost every day, so that's how she makes it up to me. Bro, you're a loser. You're a golden retriever boyfriend, and you have no spine. You're a pay pig loser, and I have no respect for you. And I hope you often, bro.
That's where it gets a little bit extreme for me there at the end. But he is coming off of a very emotional experience, and he's just voicing his concerns. He's expressing it the way he knows how.
What can I say, man? What can I say? It's really sad. I'm still sad about it. This happened yesterday. And I've done not a lot of reflection, but I've spoken with my brothers. I've spoken with my mom, and I'm glad I didn't make this video yesterday, because I would have actually crashed out.
Yeah, I gotta get better at OBS. Yeah. So, I mean, I thought that was a great video. I appreciate him sharing his views. I'm glad his video popped off. He's up to 15K views with 266 subscribers. So hit him up, Artemio Borgia Jr. Let him know that you want to see more of what he's got going on. Let him know that you want him to share more of his experience and more of what he's doing. So